Hello guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial here. Now I've taken a little break from this, so we're going to jump back in. In between the previous episode and this episode, the only real details I added in between episodes was the rear diffusion section here. So you can see that I extruded down from this edge here, merged it to the edge that ran underneath, and then just made a little bit of an insert there for where the exhaust pipes will go. So that's what it looked like before, and that's what it's looking at just now. What we're going to be doing in this episode is we are going to work our way down this rear window section here, and then hopefully get the majority of the trim around this window done as well. So hopefully this episode, we're going to extend the length of this episode a little bit, so it's going to be a little bit longer than the previous ones, just to make sure that we can get these episodes finished and out of the way as soon as possible. So first things first is the window here has a little bit of an insert in this bottom section, so we can see that in the blueprints up here at the top. So what we're going to need to do for here is we're going to use our edge, and we are going to select all the edges around this section here. We're going to hit Ctrl E, and using the world option we're going to scale down a little bit here, and we're going to move to the right there. So this is essentially going to work as the trim for underneath the window. Now a lot of this does now need to be moved down, so it's actually lower in the car down here, and then the trim around the top here will keep, and we're just going to make that nice and low so it doesn't interfere with what we are working on just now. Just need to select that here. You can drop that down there like that. Okay, let's straighten all that edge out as well. Yes, that should be fine. Okay, so that's looking good. In our top view here, we should get a good view. So we can see here, we're going to need to snap this section by holding X to the center. We need to do the same here as well. And then what we'll do is we can pull these points out. We can see where these points are supposed to go. So we can pull these out here all the way to this very edge. This point will sit perfect here, and then we can bring that one down there. Okay, it's looking good. I think we may move these inner points down just a little bit as well. Okay, it's not too bad. And we could go with straightening these off as well. Higher there, perfect. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to run down this section here, and we're going to do that by using a plane, not a cone. And what we'll do with this plane here is we are going to need to remove all the subdivisions. So on the polyplane down here, we're going to change it from 10 to 1. I'm going to bring that down here. So what we're going to do with this plane is going to make up this whole section. Now this, can't really see on this blueprint where the window starts and where it ends, but what actually happens, as we can see on our top view here, what we can actually see on our top view here is that it runs down all as part of one section there, and then the glass kind of goes either side. So for this one section here, we're going to use our plane, and our plane is going to start at the top. So we can hold V and snap that to the polygon, the vertices up here, and then what we can do is we're going to drag these in line with the section down here. So for now what we'll do is we'll pull this down just to match by eye for now. Perfect. So that is going to become our what looks like an exit section for the heat in the engine. So first things first, I'm going to use my mesh tools here and I'm going to insert an edge loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it around this edge here. So that's going to get rid of that extra shade in there and make it a little bit sharper for us for now, which will allow us here to see a little bit better what we're working with there. So what we're going to do with this plane here is we are going to insert some edge loops inside here. So we're going to make essentially all of these little squares that we've got going on here. So what I'm actually going to do is mesh tools, insert edge loop, and we're going to put one at the very bottom here, and then we are going to put one at the very top here. Also, we will put one to make that corner, and we'll put one to make this edge all the way down here. So far that's looking pretty good. And what we're actually going to do is we're just going to delete the face that runs all the way down the middle. So what we're left with is something that looks like this. Actually, before we do that, we'll just bring that back. What we'll do is we'll insert our edge loops, the required edge loops here. So we'll go from there to there. So what I'm doing is I'm aligning an edge loop along with a line here, and then one along with the extruded section there. So I'm going to go here and here, 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 there. Okay, so that's looking a bit better. So rather than deleting, what we'll do is we'll get a hold of all of these sections here, and we're going to hit Control E, which is going to allow us to extrude these sections in. Now we're going to leave it on the component section here. We're not going to press on the world, and we are going to scroll down. I'm going to scale these down slightly. We're going to drop them in, and we're going to move our selection over here, just so we get that actual lip in the top there. We're going to hit Control E again, and we're going to this time scroll down and underneath. Something like that. What we can actually do is if we scale these like so, drag that under. Okay, and I think what we can do is rotate them around slightly there. Okay, so we've kind of got that kind of vent section coming through there. Okay, it's looking good. What we'll do now is we can see that the actual shapes that we work with here aren't actually perfect shapes. We can see that we've got little sections here and there. So what we will actually do is we're going to use our move tool here, and as part of the move tool, if we get rid of their channels there, we're going to open up our move tool, and we're going to change this from world to component. So that means now that we should be able to move these vertices around a little bit easier. So we can see if we drag that down here just like that. And what we're going to do with these edges is we are going to pull them around to the sections with the most curvature. So each of these is going to be pulled out to the side slightly. Here. This section needs to come more over here. So we can kind of see that we're having a kind of a kick out kind of shape to these. Nothing here is actually that straight. Okay. And what we'll do is, with our mesh tool here, we're going to insert an edge loop and we're going to put it to run all the way down here, and this is going to allow us to make the more shaped corners. So we see here that this section needs to sit roughly up here. This section here needs to come up there. This section over here. And this one's a little bit over here. Okay. Okay, so that's looking quite good there. And then this side here we can see is fairly sedate as it goes down from one side to the other. So we'll leave that side as it is. So we can see that when we remove the actual mesh tools, we can kind of see that we've got that shape. And once that starts smoothing out a little bit, it'll look a little bit nicer as well. Perfect. And what we'll do here now is we will bring another pane in, which is going to be the actual window itself. So what we'll do here is we will bring in another polygon primitive plane. We'll bring this into position here, and again, just exactly like we did before, we're going to remove all of the subdivisions here, and we will add them in as edge loops in just a minute. We also need to change our orientation back to the world here. So with this here, we're going to hold Control V, and we are going to snap to all the required sections. Before we do so, we can actually see here that we need to insert another edge loop as part of the section that we was working on here. So we can see that this edge actually needs to come all the way across into the center as well. Here. And then we can add another one inside here. There we go. And then we'll just make sure that we're going to kind of follow the curvature there of the roof at the top. And what we'll actually do is we're just going to select all of these exterior face edges here. And hit Control E to extrude these in. We're just going to extrude them down just like so. Okay. So what we want here is we want to firstly bring this vertices up and merge it to the top here. I'm going to merge this vertices over to this corner. Take this one here down to this corner. And this one here. We'll need edge loops in here to match. So I'll have one here, one here. And these vertices are going to sit up here. So maybe we won't actually, maybe we won't sit underneath. Maybe we'll sit directly at the end here. There we go. Can snap these ones here as well. Now, with these sections here, the lower section of this window, need to have a look. So see that the window actually stops here, so it doesn't actually go all the way down to the bottom. So we'll bring that up here. Let's see, I think it looks about right there. Over here, and then this can be snapped there. Now, what we want to do here is we'll want to bring an edge loop in around there, which will allow us to delete the face around these vents. So that means now we can actually snap these vertices to this section here. Okay. And then we can bring all these sections here up to match there. Okay, it's looking good. So what we'll do is we will duplicate Control D, Control G, flip those across, so we can see that section put together quite nicely there. Okay, so it looks like next on the agenda was to create the section here going around, the edge of the window. So what we actually want here is we want our trim that goes all around the edge of the window here to firstly come up and down in this section here, but then the trim actually merges into this secondary kind of intake section there as well, which sits just inside here. So what we'll do for this is we will go all around the edge of the window here, starting from here. So well, what we do is just double click that, we'll just deselect that. And that. Okay. So with these edges here, we're going to hit Control E, and we're just going to extrude these in slightly. So this is going to become the window trim. That'll be fine just there. So we've gone more or less vertical with these, and that'll allow us now to drag these points to where we actually want them to be. Okay. So by extruding these in, it's actually altered the majority of these lines, so we just want to keep them as straight as possible as we go. Okay. And what we'll actually do with this section here is we are going to select all the faces we've just made there, and we're going to edit their mesh, and we will extract. So we're actually going to remove these faces here from the actual section. What we're going to do here is we're going to select everything as part of this section. Actually, we'll wait on that just now. Let's in these sections here. So we're going to grab this edge, we're going to hit Control E, we're going to extrude this. We're going to extrude this up here. We snap there, and here, but bring it back up there. with this part here, it looks like this is where it's going to start breaking into two sections. So we'll extend this down here, here. There. So what we might try and do here is if we take this part, extrude this bit down here, like so, and then if we take this bit over here, we'll extrude this edge in and we'll bring this down to match this section here just before the intake. That would allow us then to kind of take that back a bit there. And this bit here will merge here. Okay. Now that will allow us to grab these edges. We can hit Control E on those and we can bring them down. What we'll do with this vertices here is we'll merge it to that one as well. And that will allow us to drop that down there. And here we can bring those edges practically vertical on each other. So it looks like they are. Which will then allow us to extrude this edge down here. What we'll do here is we'll add two edge loops on this section here and here for this to merge to. Okay, so it's looking pretty good going around there. So it looks like now this here we're going to want to extrude around here. Now I believe we can see this in the front. Maybe not. Maybe from the top. Okay, so actually we can kind of see that's gone along this line here. So once we get to that back section, that all needs to extrude in slightly. So I believe it's going to come out somewhere around here. Okay. And then what we can do with this section is a line here. We'll extrude down on this edge. This is going to tuck back underneath and merge with these sections. we'll do is we can just double check. So it looks like that's probably a bit too far. So bring that back in here. That will allow us here to take all of these edge sections there, inside here. We can actually have these sections here come together like so, and then we need to bring this bit in as well. Okay. Take the whole of this bit here to extrude in. And then it looks like, back at our top view here, looks like the whole of this section needs extruding in. Take all of these vertices here, this section here needs to come out as well. Perfect. Okay, it's looking good. And what we'll actually do here is, in Hypershade, we will assign our darker Lambert to that section. Okay, so that's given us that little bit of detail around there as well. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Okay guys, so I think we'll stop there for that episode. We managed to get a section down the back here, some detail in on the side. Now again, this is just a base mesh, just like the rest of the body here. What we'll actually be doing is adding some details in the future episodes. Now what I'm probably going to do in between episodes is I'll tidy this up a little bit. I'm going to do the same around the windscreen section here, ready to start putting in some glass before we actually merge these two body sections together, and then actually start to extract all the individual panels and add some details. Okay,